At Lake Tapps, the swim area is already bright with morning sun and mountain air. Today, we're counting down 5 Seattle suburbs and Western Washington towns where an $800,000 budget can still buy the whole house, not just a condo. The point here is not to pretend $800,000 is small money. It is to find places where that number still gives you a real shot at a full home, some yard space, and maybe cash left over for updates or a rate buy-down. Every pick comes in under that line on the blended median, with trade-offs around commute, walkability, or competition from other buyers. Let's start at number 5. Number 5 is Bonney Lake, a Pierce County pick, where the draw is space, water access, and breathing room under the cap. Zillow's home value estimates from May 2026 put the typical home in Bonney Lake around $683,242, which leaves roughly $117,000 of cushion beneath an $800,000 target. Lake Tapps is the obvious outdoor anchor, with swimming areas nearby, and Victor Falls brings in a smaller historic landmark that gives the area more than just subdivisions and arterial roads. The trade-off is that Bonney Lake is not a stroll-everywhere suburb. Walk Score rates Bonney Lake at 10, so daily life here usually means using a car for errands, groceries, and most services. That is a major part of why the math works. You are not paying for a dense downtown grid or rail-style convenience. For buyers who want the whole house search to include driveways, garages, and yard potential instead of being pushed straight into condo comparisons, Bonney Lake makes the countdown because the price cushion is real. What helps Bonney Lake stand out is that the $800,000 number does not feel like it is scraping the ceiling. With a median in the high 600s, there is room to think about inspection items, cosmetic work, or a mortgage strategy without every dollar being pinned to the purchase price. Competition can still show up at this tier, especially from buyers moving within the region, but Bonney Lake offers one of the clearer examples of trading a longer Seattle core commute for more health-centered value. It is not the most walkable choice here, but it is one of the cleanest whole house arguments. Number 4 is Maple Valley, and this one is the tight squeeze of the countdown. The median home price is about $796,978, so it slips just under the $800,000 line with almost no headroom left. The payoff is a setting built around green space and water, with Lake Wilderness Park's beach as a centerpiece and the Cedar River Trail adding a major recreational corridor. If Bonney Lake is about cushion, Maple Valley is about getting just under the number and accepting that the margin is thin. Maple Valley's walk score is 20, so this is another place where the car is part of the daily rhythm. The difference is that the community character leans heavily into parks, trails, and residential streets, rather than a tightly packed downtown experience. Lake Wilderness Park matters because it gives the area a recognizable gathering point, not just a map label, and the Cedar River Trail gives the neighborhood a regional outdoor connection. For the topic of buying the whole house, Maple Valley belongs here because the median still lands under the cap, even if the budget does not leave much extra room. That thin margin is important to say out loud. At roughly $797,000, this is not the pick where $800,000 creates a large cushion for remodels, upgrades, or aggressive repairs after closing. It is more of a barely under-the-line suburb, and that can mean being disciplined about condition, inspection findings, and how much cash stays available after the purchase. Still, Maple Valley earns its spot because it keeps the whole house conversation alive in a place tied closely to lake wilderness and trail access, without crossing the $800,000 median mark. Number 3 is Monroe, and this is where the countdown starts to feel more town-centered. The median home price is about $732,449, leaving roughly $68,000 of room under the cap. Monroe brings in a different kind of balance. A walkable Main Street, Lewis and Maine Brewery, and Skycomish River Centennial Park nearby. Instead of leading with shoreline or lake beaches, Monroe leads with a small city core and river access. The walkability number changes the story here. Monroe's walk score is 86, which is a big contrast with the lower scoring suburbs earlier in the countdown. That does not mean every home search will be equally walkable, but the central area gives buyers a more connected Main Street environment than the typical low-density suburb. For an $800,000 search, that combination is what makes Monroe interesting. The median stays comfortably below the cap, while the town center gives more errand and evening texture than you usually expect at this price point outside Seattle. Monroe also brings a practical middle ground. The cushion is not as deep as Bonney Lake's, but it is meaningful enough to matter, especially compared with Maple Valley's near 800 figure. Skycomish River Centennial Park adds a natural edge, while Main Street gives the town a recognizable place to land when you are not at home. The trade-off is distance from Seattle's core and the reality that demand at this price point can still be competitive. But Monroe makes a strong case because the whole house budget does not require giving up a real town center. Number 2 is Normandy Park, a quieter coastal-leaning pick south of Seattle with a very different feel from the larger outlying suburbs. The median home price comes in around $728,175, leaving about $72,000 of headroom under $800,000. The key landmarks are Normandy Park Cove, with shoreline access, and Mar Vista Park, which gives the area another established outdoor anchor. This is the pick where the setting feels close to Puget Sound, without pushing the median over the cap. Normandy Park's walk score is 35, so it is not in the same walkable category as Monroe or University Place. The streets and residential layout make it more of a car-oriented search, and that should be part of the calculation. But the shoreline element matters. Normandy Park Cove gives the area a water-connected identity, and Mar Vista Park adds green space within the community. For the whole house question, Normandy Park stands out because the median sits in the low 700s, while the local character is shaped by parks, shoreline, and established residential blocks. The reason Normandy Park ranks ahead of Monroe is not a huge price difference. Monroe and Normandy Park are fairly close on the median. It is the combination of headroom, Puget Sound proximity, and the fact that the $800,000 number still has some space to breathe. Buyers should not confuse that with unlimited options, because condition, lot, and location can move the conversation quickly. But if the goal is to avoid a condo-only search and still keep water access and parks in the lifestyle picture, Normandy Park is one of the strongest Seattle suburb names in this price band. And number 1 is University Place. The median home price is about $662,420, putting it roughly $138,000 under an $800,000 budget. That is the deepest headroom in the countdown, and it is why University Place takes the top spot. Curran, Apple Orchard Park, and Chambers Creek are the local anchors, giving the area a mix of neighborhood green space and major outdoor scenery nearby. The walkability case is also stronger here than in several other picks. University Place has a walk score of 77, so it offers a more connected day-to-day pattern than Bonney Lake, Maple Valley, or Normandy Park. Again, the exact block matters, but the overall score supports a more practical neighborhood experience for errands and local services. When you combine that with the lowest median of the 5, University Place becomes the clearest answer to where $800,000 has the best chance of buying the whole house while still leaving money on the table. That remaining cushion is the headline. Roughly $138,000 under the cap can change the conversation around repairs, improvements, financing choices, or simply keeping reserves after closing. Chambers Creek adds a major regional landscape, while Curran Apple Orchard gives University Place a more local, neighborhood-scale park identity. There are still trade-offs, including competition at this price tier, and the reality of being outside Seattle rather than in it. But the balance is hard to beat. The lowest median, solid walkability, and recognizable outdoor anchors all in one place. So the 5 are Bonney Lake, Maple Valley, Monroe, Normandy Park, and University Place. The best fit depends on how you weigh price, cushion, walkability, parks, water access, and commute. Every number in this video is sourced. You'll find the links in the description. Which neighborhood would have made your top 5? If this helped, tap like and subscribe. Tell me the next Seattle suburb price point or lifestyle topic you want covered.